Welcome back, everyone, to Seahawk Central News, your source for the latest in local news and entertainment. I'm Trevor Bray.
And I'm Anna Phillips. Want to get involved? Check out tealtv.org to keep up with us throughout the school year. Don't forget, Seahawk Central News airs Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m.
This week, we'll take a look at some of the key events such as All-Time Low's performance in Keenan Auditorium and an interview with comedian Todd Glass.
Not only that, but we will also head over to the sports desk with Trey Owings and the rest of the Seahawks sports team and catch up with the latest movie reviews with Chris Vickery.
Stay tuned because Seahawk Central News starts right now. The anti-American protests aren't calming in the Middle East as demonstrators invaded Afghanistan's capital on Monday, September 17th. Approximately 20 policemen were injured after being stoned by protesters. The attacks are claimed to be a response to an anti-Muslim film mocking Muhammad. The film was released in the summer but was only recently translated to Arabic. According to the New York Times, Middle Eastern protesters do not see this as a Muslim versus Christian issue, but that the traditionalism of both faiths in the region conflict with Western individualism and secularism, while others think the outrage is from anger built up over years and years.
Daniel Bernard Romaine and Laurelyn Dossett combined for a final concert on September 15th. Romaine composed and organized a collaboration of a wide range of artists ranging from soul to performance to pianist. The concert was put on by the Connecting Crossroads program in North Carolina. Romaine is a Haitian-American violinist and composer, while Dossett is a North Carolina native singer/songwriter. You can check out his new music on YouTube, where he explains that his music really reflects who he is, saying that the banging, the screeching, the screaming, all the things that in some ways have more to do with Prince than Paganini, well, that's who I am.
Comedian Todd Glass made his way to the Port City on Saturday, September 8th to perform 2 stand-up shows at the Nut Street Comedy Club. I had the privilege to chat with this lively and vivacious comedian before his performance. Glass enlightened me on the life of a comic and his progression of his career. I'm Trevor Bray here at the Nut Street Comedy Room with comedian Todd Glass. Todd, how are you tonight?
Trevor, I'm doing really good. About 20 minutes away from doing a show here tonight, so I'm excited.
So you've been doing this for a while, and I'm wondering, talk me through the process of how you chose being a comedian as your career goal. Were you just funny and decided, hey, I can make a career out of this, or was it more complicated than that?
It's none of your business. Come on now, she's gonna have to laugh at my jokes. I always really liked, there you go. The owner of the club just ducked underneath. I've always loved stand-up comedy. Simple answer to that. Always loved stand-up comedy from a young age, even 12. And, there was a comedy club in Philadelphia called the Comedy Works. And when I was like 15 or 16, my friend, Albert Nalabatsky, he said, there's a comedy club. I didn't even know what to expect. And long story short, we'd go down there to start seeing shows. Now, the people I'm about to mention weren't as big as they are now, but we'd go every weekend, and we'd see like Richard Lewis, we'd see Paul Reiser, we'd see Jay Leno, Gary Shandling, Jerry Seinfeld, Eddie Murphy early in his career, Roseanne Barr earlier in their career. So I just always liked stand-up, and I still like it. I've been doing it a long time, and it's genuinely one of my favorite things to do. It's just fun.
On Mike Marone's WTF podcast, you came out publicly as gay.
Oh, come on now, this is not public information.
Why did you choose to do it on Mark Maron's podcast?
I thought it would I wanted to hit a big audience. I thought I had something to say, to do what was right, that was healthy for me, and then maybe in the meantime, do what was going to help a lot of other people. And I thought that was a good vehicle. Mark Maron's podcast had dealt with a lot of sensitive issues like this before, sensitive, but yet deal with them in a comedic way, not, make it too heavy. And I thought that was a good vehicle, and it was a good vehicle. And I'm glad that I did it. And everyone's got to do it when they're ready. I don't push anybody into doing it, but, I was ready, and I'm glad that I did it.
On a variety of shows, from Last Comic Standing to Jimmy Kimmel Live. Mm-hmm. Do you have any future plans to one day host your own show?
I don't think I'd want to host a show. That's hard. No. It's not one of the jobs I look at, what Jimmy Kimmel does or Conan O'Brien, and think, oh, I could do that better. Not at all. I look at them and go, I couldn't, you do a great job. I couldn't do it. It's hard. All right, there we go.
Thank you so much. Good luck tonight.
Eli Soslow, the author of 10 Letters, The Stories Americans Tell Their President, was on campus on September 10th and 11th. Soslow's book is UNCW's Synergy Common Reading Experience for this year. It tells the stories of 10 different people who each wrote personal letters to President Barack Obama. Soslow's schedule included meeting with the Cornerstone Learning Community for book discussions, as well as a Rock the Vote with Eli event held on the amphitheater on the 11th, where he signed autographs and talked to students from 11:30 to 1:30 p.m.
Teal TV's Sierra Shalado took us out on this week's Talk on the Walk, getting UNCW's take on Apple's newest edition, the iPhone 5.
It's been about 2 years now since the iPhone 4's release, when excited students and customers lined up outside stores nationwide. This week on Talk on the Walk, we're interested to see what students think about the upcoming new and improved iPhone 5.
I'm very excited about the new iPhone 5 coming out, and I've already pre-ordered it, so that's the thing.
An app that I'm interested on the iPhone 5 is probably Siri, I guess, just because it's quicker to search than scrolling through my phone.
My interest in purchasing the iPhone 5, I don't know, I have an iPhone 4S, so I guess it would be kind of cool to upgrade a little bit and see what the new iPhone has. But I mean, I'm not that interested in it. I have the next to best version right now.
I'm very excited about the new iPhone that's coming out this week. A lot of my friends are going to get it.
I'm really excited about the iPhone 5. They talked about like the bigger screen, and it's a lot lighter and it's twice as fast. And so I don't have an upgrade for another year and a half, so maybe the 6 will be out by then, but I'm super excited for the iPhone 5, and hopefully I can get it at some point.
As you can see, many students are excited about the new iPhone 5. I'm Sierra Shalado with Seahawk Central News, Teal TV. Back to you in the studio.
Wrightsville's Beach Crystal Pier will undergo reconstruction as part of the structure is deteriorating. Surfers and swimmers were threatened in early September after a high surf brought down a piling and cross-bracing beam. As a response, owners of the pier are expected to remove approximately 25 feet of the landmark, though no date has been set yet to begin renovations. According to town manager Bill Simpson, diners at Oceanic Restaurant and those walking on the pier have no reason to worry, as the pier is only hazardous to water near and underneath the pier.
Logan Spaller was on scene for a local event, Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, on September 15th. The event was put on by the Rape Crisis Coastal Horizon Center, Incorporated. Logan?
I'm here on the Riverwalk, where men will be wearing high-heel shoes and taking a hike in order to help raise money for the Rape Prevention Center.
So this is Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. This is a men's march to stop rape, sexual assault, and gender violence. It's a way for us to get men involved in preventing sexual violence, because we know that a lot of times education can be directed towards females and can be directed towards possible victims, and so we're trying to get men involved in the conversation, because men are a part of the issue just as much as women are, and so we are really trying to have the conversation about how do we get men to stop other men from doing this. And so they wear high-heeled shoes for a mile to know what it's like to walk in a female's shoes, to know what it's like to be a woman for a little while. So yeah.
This is the third year in a row I've come out and walked in a walk. Came out to support this organization. Last 2 years I've dressed up. Last year, as you can see, I won the Lady Gaga Award, and notoriety's been a little tough on me this year, and you can see what happened to my figure, but I'm not making fun of the event because it's very serious, but people laugh, they're lighthearted, and they remember me and they remember the walk, and maybe it will get more people interested in supporting the organization.
It's just a wonderful experience. We're really celebrating, victory over, the scourge of sexual violence today. And when you get a lot of people together that understand and are in touch with what's happening, it really empowers, I think, a community. And I'm just glad to be a part of this again this year.
It's been real successful so far. So everybody is really involved. Everybody is really willing to want to come out and raise money for the Rape Crisis Center. So it's been really great.
After today's turnout, it is quite clear that there are many who care about this great cause. This is their 5th year consecutively, and I hope next year you can make it out too. Until next time, I'm Logan Spaller, reporting for Seahawk Central News, TLTV.
Thank you, Logan. The alternative band All Time Low lit up UNCW's Keenan Auditorium on Wednesday, September 12th. More than 700 students attended the school's fall show. Reporter Katie Nimrich has more from backstage.
Each year, ACE asked the students what band they'd like to see for the fall concert, and this year, All Time Low won the vote. Join me, Katie Nemrich, for a backstage interview with the band at Keenan Auditorium. So because you took like a different process for this album, I know you just released For Baltimore, and should we expect like a similar sound to For Baltimore for this new album? Like, has being locked in the studio kind of changed your sound at all, or?
I like to think that we've definitely grown on this record. I think at the same time, though, we wanted to make a point to kind of go back and find the things that made the last records great and what people loved about those records. Because hindsight's always 20/20, and I think on each record that we've put out, there's always things that we kind of look back and we say we could have done that better. So I think in going back and looking over everything we've done in the past, it kind of let us write sort of very honestly and openly, and in a way that I think really pushed us through with the experience that we have now, and I think the songs are a lot stronger because of it.
So would you say your inspiration came more from the fans rather than like different artists this time, or yourselves,
for sure.
kind
Yeah,
of?
Exactly.
Great.
I think a big part of this process was about rediscovering what made this band catch on with people in the first place and trying to hone in on that.
And we want to make an album that our fans would love because we've had so many albums out at this point, and we have an identity now,
Yeah.
After a couple albums, you kind of find your sound.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess with this next tour with the early November, the Somerset, Downtown Fiction, Hit the Lights, I guess, will there be a different kind of vibe to this tour, or should we expect anything different from it?
I think you can expect a lot of the same, which is because I think the best aspect of this band is our live show, and I think people can expect what they've come to fall in love with. I think originally we want to put on a great show.
Every night's a different show for sure.
Yeah, exactly. We never really script anything too much, so you never know what really is going to happen. But I mean, the package is awesome. I'm really excited to be back on the road with Hit the Lights, and the Somerset are some really great friends. So it's gonna be a rad tour. I'm very excited for it.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the fans or the UNCW students while you're here?
Yeah, work hard and study and do your best, you guys.
And let us be your football team, because we found out
we need one.
We heard you don't have a football team.
You would be definitely better than the one we currently have.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try out. We'll hold tryouts in the quad next week. We'll be back.
Great. Thank you so much for meeting with us.
Yes.
That's our look backstage with All Time Low. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I'm Katie Nemrich with Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
Sounds like that was a pretty great show.
It's going to be a tough act to follow for the spring show. Sarah Lively interviewed Vice Chancellor Mamoni from Business Affairs this week to see about recent renovations and future construction on the UNCW campus. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Lively here with Vice Chancellor Mamoni to talk about the updated master plan for UNCW. Vice Chancellor, what is the progress of the College of Health and Applied Human Science to create kind of necessarily the quad towards the back of the UNCW campus?
Well, we definitely have a plan, and we definitely have a great idea for how we would complete that quad. And the master plan actually includes another building that straddles Chancellor's Walk with a portico that would allow you to walk through underneath. And so it's a great idea and design. The actual funding for that will come through our state appropriations, and so that allocation has yet to come to UNCW, and we really don't have a good idea of when that might happen at this point.
Now, I've also heard that perhaps in the future, when the quad area is completed with the College of Health and Applied Human Sciences, that there may be graduation ceremonies held inside of the quad. Is there any truth to this statement?
Oh, I have no idea whether or not that would occur. But what I would say to you is that that becomes a great venue for a lot of events. And so it may or may not be graduation, but certainly the university could use that to celebrate a lot of different activities.
That's very true. As you know, a big hot topic for students is always parking. I did notice that with the master plan, there comes the addition of 3 new parking decks. So do you expect the parking decks to alleviate the parking issues? And what is the time frame, perhaps? Would we see one in the next couple of years?
Well, let me start with the last question. No, I don't think we'll see one in the next couple of years. I really don't think we need to do that. What the master plan does is it shows where buildings will be set into the future. And part of the building plan includes elimination of parking. So it really is an offset to the existing parking that we have as much as it is managing the future parking needs.
Moving on to another area of campus, the Wagner Dining Hall Plaza. What is expected for that area? Is it more so additional seating? Would you bring other dining options to that area? If you could just elaborate a little bit about what that exactly means.
Well, actually, it means both. It does mean additional seating and hopefully some outdoor seating around that building and facility, as well then as additional options. But you should know by now, I think, Sarah, as a senior, that changes all the time now, that our dining program is an evolving program, and we really try to listen to what our students are asking us, to provide there. So I do see it changing, and I do see other venues actually coming in the future.
And now that we've learned a little bit more about the master plan, we'd like to send this back to the studio. This is Sarah Lively, Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
UNC Chancellor Holden Thorpe will resign next year after much scandal regarding special treatment for athletes, misuse of funds, and academic fraud. The Chancellor took office 4 years ago and told WWAY in a prepared statement that he felt this was the best action to take for the future of the university.
UNC Wilmington's creative student-run magazine, Atlantis, has a number of upcoming events for fellow Seahawks to get involved. The organization will be holding a poetry reading with live music at Bottega Art and Wine on Tuesday, September 25th. Students are encouraged to join even if they have no poetry to share. Fall submissions for the Poetry Prose Art and Photography Contest are due by midnight on October 3rd. Finally, a poetry slam will be held Thursday, October 11th from 8 to 10 p.m. at the CIS Room 1008. Prizes will be given for first, second, and third place winners.
In this week's Critics on Campus, Chris Vickery discusses 2 movies that hit the box office last weekend. Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Anna, and welcome to Critics on Campus. I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside my co-host for the week, Johnny Reynolds. Johnny, this time as always, we did 2 movies, the first of which was Paranorman, which is a stop-motion feature about a young boy who can see and talk to ghosts, and he has to use this ability to stave off a witch's curse in his small town in a pretty frightful and edgy adventure.
Right.
What did you think of this one?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, it was funny, it was charming, the animation was beautiful, and you don't see a lot of stop-motion pictures. They're usually just the same kind of 3D animation. But I just thought they really did an amazing job on it.
Yeah, it is refreshing to see a stop-motion animation, and it's so beautiful. Like, they really did do a great job. And I think they're relative newcomers to the scene. Most of these guys, I haven't seen any big work from them before, and they really knock it out of the park. It's a great story, and it's unexpected. Right. You know, it's very easy to go into one of those movies and totally be able to see where it's going to go from page 1. But this one really takes you on a lot of nice surprises and a really fun journey that I think the whole family would enjoy.
Yeah, I loved how they took that sort of familiar plot that's reminiscent of like the horror B movies, but then like turned a completely different direction with it.
Yeah, and they managed to stay edgy without just trying to be edgy. Right. You know, they chose all the right moments to push the envelope and really make something that stood out amongst the pack. What would you give this one out of 5 stars?
I'm going to have to go with a 5 because there was nothing in here that I didn't dislike. Everything I loved about it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've seen a couple of Focus Feature films who produced this movie, as well as Hannah earlier. And they haven't produced a bad movie that I've seen, and I really, really enjoyed this one, so I would have to give it 5 as well. But the second movie that we saw, The Words, is a smaller indie drama, which is being produced by Bradley Cooper, the star of the film. And it's from, again, 2 relative unknowns who wrote and directed the film. It's about a guy who writes a book about a guy who steals his breakout novel and then meets the guy that he stole his novel from, the old man, coincidentally. What did you think of this one?
Honestly, I hated it. I mean, at a certain point, it was writing about writing about writing, and it just too convoluted, and it got to a point where I was bored and annoyed at the same exact time.
Yeah, it's really tough to have that many levels of storytelling and be effective in the first place, and honestly, unless it really needs to be there, you shouldn't go that far. Right. And this movie didn't call for it. No. There were a lot of unnecessary elements, and it just was really over-dramatic.
Right. Way too over-emotional. It was littered with these moments of people holding each other or longingly staring out, and just this over-emotional music playing in the background. It was just way too dramatic for what it was.
Yeah, and you know, it wasn't terribly acted. I think all the actors, there were some really great names in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Jeremy Irons, for one.
Yeah, and they all did a fine job. It just, the story, the script was not impressive. And when you're a movie that's that small and that under the radar, you really have to be impressive. And I can't find anything in that movie that I genuinely enjoyed. No. So what would you give this one out of 5 stars?
I'd have to give it a 1. Just the whole time I was watching it, I wished everything had been different.
Yeah, I have to agree. A 1 for me as well. I can't honestly say there was a moment in the movie where I was glad I was there watching it. But again, there will be 2 movies next week. Thanks again for tuning in to Critics on Campus. I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside Johnny Reynolds. This segment is brought to you by Carmike Cinemas. Stay tuned next time.
In an effort to go green, UNCW's Keenan Auditorium recently added over 30 LED lights. The switch will reduce energy consumption and save the university almost $2,500 a year. The newly added lights use over $50,000 from the $1.8 million energy consumption upgrade budget. The campus is also updating the heating and cooling systems in the campus apartments and improving the chiller for the dining hall heating and air system. The LED lights additionally offer better qualities and more versatility for shows.
UNCW has been named one of the top 5 regional public universities in the South by the 2013 U.S. News World and Report. UNCW is part of an elite group of schools who have held rankings in the top 10 for the past 15 years. Chancellor Gary Miller is quoted on the UNCW site as saying that the educational experience at UNCW thrives on the strength of our ideas and innovation. Our dedication to our place as North Carolina's coastal university and our active involvement in the community furthers the learning opportunities at UNCW.
Well, Seahawks, that's all we have for this episode.
Be sure to stop by tealtv.org to catch each episode of Seahawk Central News. Until next time, I'm Anna Phillips.
And I'm Trevor Bray, saying so long, Seahawks.